Good morning and welcome to our day one of the 4 lives followed by the masterclass. And I'm going to share with you why, firstly, I'm doing these 4 lives, because originally this wasn't part of the plan. It's the weekend. But when I was putting everything together for the From Frozen to Freedom free masterclass that's happening next Wednesday the 15th at 8 p.m. If you haven't yet signed up, I will share the link below. I should know how to do all this stuff where you're like, here's the link whilst you're live. No idea. So it's all over my socials. I'll pop it in here after. But when I was putting everything together for it, I actually came to realise I can't fit it into a masterclass. I'm a self-confessed overgiver. So I don't just want to be like, here's 3 things you can do. Let's do these breathing things. Ta-da! I want to make sure that we have a bit of a foundation, especially if you have found yourself recently in a bit of an overwhelmed place. There's something I'm actually going to kind of caveat here as well, because this year in particular, more than ever, I would actually go as far as saying that, I don't know if it's the extra pressures of society, the cost of living. I'm not even going to use the word crisis because they'll throw another crisis out there soon, won't they, in the next week and call it a crisis. But anyway, don't know. I think a lot of people are also awakening. They're awakening that there's more within them, that we don't have to live in this stressed out state, that happiness is actually available to us all. We don't have to just do life in a particular way. And I think that could be playing a part in it. But basically, people are saying that they're overwhelmed. There's so much that they want to do, or there's so much to do. And then there's the other end of the scale. And that's actually that they're underwhelmed. So what I'm going to be sharing with you over the sort of the next 4 days with the lives and then into the masterclass are things to really kind of kickstart our level of awareness, remind us of so many of these fundamental things when it comes to our well-being, our mental health, our spiritual connection and our spiritual health. So, okay, so much I could say. So today's live, I've got my little notes here, is I'm going to share with you, going to remind you what to do when it all feels a bit too much, when we are in that place in particular of overwhelm. And the reason that this is so important to know is this directly impacts our nervous system. When we are in that stressed out state, when we feel like we're looking for that escape door to run out of, when everything's just that bit too much, what I'm going to share with you, you will no doubt know on that deep innate level, but I want you to check in. When was the last time you did this? Now, I can see a few of you joining. Good morning. And I would actually like to go as far as saying that there's definitely some people in this group that do practice this. So just give a hell yes if this is what you do. So let's show others that it's possible, that it works. And if you're like, hell no, I have not done this for a while, or I forget that this is a thing to do, share that below so people can also be reminded that we need to do this stuff and that they're not on their own, that there isn't a magic wand that we wave and that everything just changes by itself. The secret thing to do is this. We need to start to disconnect to reconnect. And what I mean by this is when you're on that freight train throughout the day and you're well aware that you've got emails to reply back to, the kids' school stuff's coming up, you've got someone's birthday party at the weekend, you've got something outstanding which you need to do, your boss is asking this, or your spouse is asking this, or your kid's doing that, whatever it is. And remember, it's not about the load that we have. People would say to me, you've got so much going on. I would probably be in the we've got so much going on load. That doesn't make my level of overwhelm any greater necessarily than someone else that, say, doesn't have children. It really frustrates me. I hear this all the time. Well, you've got more time, you've not got kids. I hear that, people saying that to people. Really, that's a number one rule. Never say that to someone, because we cannot compare circumstances. That person might be carrying around a ton of trauma from childhood, and their level of overwhelm is And I saw this happen the other day. A lady was putting a trolley away and someone banged the trolley next to her. And the sound of that, you'd think an explosion had gone off. Her nervous system went boom, she physically elevated off the floor. And that to me, with the work I do, is an instant sign. If someone's nervous system's that fiery, if you are a very jumpy person, it's the nervous system. The nervous system's thinking and ready to respond in a jump and run kind of way. So just because someone else has got a massive load, never put, well, I've only got this much, why am I so stressed and overwhelmed? There's no comparison, because we are all so unique on the inside with our past experiences, the level of trauma that we may be carrying around, our outlook on the world. Is it a safe place? Is it not a safe place? All of these factors come into play on a moment by moment basis. So by disconnecting to reconnect, what I mean by this is, firstly, and if you've ever been to any of my lives that I've been doing on Facebook since day dot when they started doing lives, or any of my masterclasses, any workshops, any programs, if you've been a client, you will know the number one thing is awareness, is that self-awareness. Without self-awareness, nothing else really can begin to make that change. It starts with you. Other people can go, have you noticed you're really jumpy? Have you noticed this? Have you noticed that? You're like, yeah, but until we recognize it internally, until we kind of have that mirror internally, can we truly then begin to see, okay, this is where I'm at, this is what I do, this is how I respond. So number one, goes without saying, it is a level of awareness. So the next time you catch yourself in that place, I did it yesterday. I was sat at my desk all day. It was back-to-back clients and then an afternoon of getting ready for the masterclass, all these things. And I found myself like, just my shoulders had come up here. I was having to do this a lot and my mind was like 100 miles an hour. So I practiced what I preach, and this is exactly what I did. I pushed the laptop back. Now I've got a Mac, so I don't know how all laptops work, but I literally just pressed the screen off button for a moment and I sat. That's the disconnect part. I disconnected from what I was doing, the laptop. I sat back for a moment. I'll show you. This is the view out of the office window. So I do feel very, very blessed. It's very green and the sky. It doesn't matter wherever you are. And I just sat and I watched the trees for about 2 minutes, if that. And I watched how it must be the waves of the wind in different directions, how beautiful. It's like the trees were dancing. Now, before I go all spiritual and all of that lot, I won't go down that route. But do you know what it made me realise? And I'm actually going to probably do a little post about this, about the Northern Lights that lots of people saw last night, but a lot of people were devastated that they didn't see. If you're in the devastated camp, honestly, the pictures that you're seeing are not what we could see with the naked eye. I promise you. I'm actually probably going to share a video that I captured. It is so faint, but we've got to remember we have all these high-tech phones that make it look like... So you could see it through the lens. It looked incredible, but with the naked eye, like it's very, very different. So anyway, like last night, seeing the lights and looking at the trees and hearing the birds, that's the reconnecting part. And do you know what it does? The best way for me to describe it is it reminds me how positively, I'm going to use the word positively here, how positively insignificant I am. I just reconnected to nature. My little stressed out mind worrying about, did I put the right date on that email? Have I sent off for that thing? That what if my cards don't arrive in time to go out in the welcome pack? What if the cards don't arrive on time? That's okay. How freaking magnificent's the world. Like, We're so insignificant in the big grand scheme of things. Now, that was my one example from yesterday. You don't have to sit there and like make yourself feel really small to make yourself feel big again. But that helped me. That's kind of the level that I'm at now. It's like, you'll probably see me with this stunning, how beautiful is that crystal? A crystal in a hand. That's me reconnecting. So after this, I will literally probably sit for about 30 seconds, have a little reflect, kind of focus. So it's like out of my own head and it's like reconnecting in. You can do that anywhere. If you're sat at your desk, if you're in the car and your kids are kicking off, like you can't disconnect from them in terms of muting them. But what you can do is bring your senses and your awareness to your breath. I did this. Most of what I'm going to be sharing over the next 4 days and in the masterclass are not just things I professionally teach. These are things I practically use on a day-to-day basis. When the kids are going off on one wants the window open, then it does that sound in the car, and the other one's kicking off because it hurts their ears, but the other one's too hot, and one wants music and one doesn't want music, and I forgot to bring my water bottle and we're running late. You know the drill. I remind myself, and this is what, if you've been in my world for a while, I call it a sacred pause. The disconnecting is taking a sacred pause, and I reconnect to my breath. And then I call on gratitude quite a bit. It's like, I am, as crazy as this is, as hectic as my life can be in these moments, I'm so grateful that they have voices to be able to share. I'm grateful that they have limbs that work. I'm grateful so that's the key here. So I urge you to take those sacred pauses. It starts with that awareness, then the next thing is the choice. Because I could teach you, I could give you a list of things to go away and do. But if you're not able to practice taking these sacred pauses for literally 15 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute, if you're going to go all out, 5 minutes if you're going to go all out, it's just another to-do list. It's another to-do list for your conscious mind to lock into. So that is kind of one of the foundations for where we're going with regards to checking in with not just our minds, but our heart, our nervous system over the next 4 days and coming into the masterclass. So I would love to know your thoughts on this. Are you in the camp of like, yes, I practiced this and it feels so freaking good? Share your experiences below if that is you. If you are someone that has practiced these sacred pauses, that really honors that kind of disconnect. Don't get me wrong, we don't do this all the time, but it's in the consciousness to do it. You might take yourself out for a walk. Your phone is one of the greatest things to practice disconnecting from. I'll come on to that kind of as we go. You'll hear me talk about the social slot machine. I'm going to leave that one there. Just remember that, the word social slot machine, the next time you're doing this. And we'll be coming on to it soon. And don't get me wrong, this happens to us all. But we need to be practicing that disconnect in order to reconnect. And I'll be talking more about the reconnecting tomorrow. So thank you for joining us. And how freaking gorgeous is the weather today? So I hope that you have, whether it's loads of plans or you're just taking the day as it comes, enjoy some vitamin D. Get yourself outside. I certainly am. And I look forward to seeing you over the coming days. And of course, it goes without saying, if this has resonated with you and there's someone that comes to mind that you think, do you know what, actually had a conversation with someone recently, they've been stressed, anxiety, overwhelmed, underwhelmed with life, invite them to come and join this group. My advice would be, genuinely, if there is someone that you think that would enjoy this group, try not to just send an invite thing. Like, I don't know about anyone else. I get invited to groups all the time and I'm always like, stitch without what? Like, but actually it's about mindfulness stitching and it would really be up my street, but I don't know what it is. So pop them a little message and say, hey, there's this very excitable life and mindset coach, Caroline Reed. You should go check out her group. There's a couple of videos that I think would really resonate with you at the moment. That's what friends are about. That's what like the soul tribe's about. So if there is someone, feel free to share. And if you do see any of my socials where I'm sharing the masterclass, I'd be so grateful if you would just give it a little share, pop a little comment on if you're enjoying these videos. It just helps to get the message out there, because let's be honest, I thrive and I love and like this is my sole purpose, but I'm not I'm not doing this for the greater good of myself over the next 5 days. I've put my heart and soul to be able to spread that, whether it is one takeaway thing, to get that message out there, to begin to pattern interrupt us so we can be our own greatest healers, basically. On that note, I'm going to send so much love. Have a good day, and I look forward to seeing you soon.